My soul bows to you. Namaskar. Namaskar everyone, and welcome to day 20 of our 21-day series. How does karma come into the meditation practice? Well, every thought you create that has an impact on you, that impacts you in any way, leaves an impression within you that's called a samskar. And those impressions within you, they can influence you, influence the way you think in the future, the way you feel, the way you act. And so that thought that you created that was impactful has left a consequence within your being that's going to influence you. So thoughts with consequences leave karmas. So karma is action with consequence. There are some thoughts that will go through your mind that has no impact upon you. So they cannot leave any karmas within you. But any thought with the feeling and desire that impacts you leaves a consequence. So if you think of how many lifetimes you've lived and how many thoughts you've created, you'll understand now why in your psyche or in your deeper being there are so many tendencies, desires, intentions, and they are those that are unfulfilled, those that you could not have realized in the particular lifetime that you would have lived. And so they live on inside of you, in the deeper part of you. We call that part of you the causal body, where all these thoughts and desires are held. They're held in the chitta akash, that space that holds everything in the consciousness. It's called chitta akash. So all these memories are held there with power, because they were filled with power during their creation, and we sustain them. We sustain these desires, these thoughts, these impressions with our continued attention to them and continued acting in and through them. So we sustain them, we give them more power in the consciousness. So you have all these karmas within you that are continuously influence you. The way you react in any situation is based on your previous karmas. The way you think now is based on your previous karmas. And so you are heavily influenced by this karmic content that is within your being. All of these karmas are called sanchit karma. All that are in the chitta, they're called sanchit karma. And those that are really influencing you now, they're called prarabdha karma. Those that are bearing fruits now. So you are the result of karma. So if you neglect this karmic awareness, then you are losing a part of the information that can really help you to clear the consciousness. So some look at karma in a fatalistic way. Okay, so this is my karma. So what can I do? No, you can do a lot. Karma allows you the opportunity to recreate. So if you have had impressions from the past that you are no longer happy with because your consciousness is shifting, and they come back with the kind of force of the past, the conditioning, in your new consciousness, you need to take a deep look at them and say, that was an old me, that was an old pattern inside of me. I need to observe this carefully with this new me and change that old pattern with this new me. Some of us, when those old patterns come back, we feel so guilty that these things are still within us, and we feel like a victim of them, and we feel powerless to even change them. But we can, no matter how strong the pattern is. The idea is not to own the pattern with your new consciousness, not to own the pattern. If there is still some part of you that is compatible with the pattern, then that's what the difficulty is. So it requires a consciousness that is able to observe objectively. That's why we say, observe objectively, be the objective witness. And observe what these old patterns are doing when they come back, how they influence you. Whether you feel that you're a victim, whether you feel guilty because you even created them in the past and they're still within you. Do not be influenced by them. Observe them with that objectivity in the consciousness. That's why we say you should have a consciousness of no judgment. When these old patterns come back, see them for what they are. And then the goal is you can create new patterns in the consciousness. But it requires that understanding, that knowledge that this is the old you and you are no longer interested in that, and a desire to create a new you, a new pattern in the consciousness that is more aligned to your new way of thinking. So once you have a clear understanding of this, then you will feel empowered to change. But if you do not have a clear understanding of the play of karma, then you become powerless to change it. So you need a clear understanding. You need to be able to see this clearly, how the old patterns come, how they are no longer you, how you can create a desire for a new pattern. And just to say that these patterns are also hardwired in the chemistry of the body, in the brain and nervous system. So when you decide that you're going to change a pattern in the consciousness with your will or intention, and in your psyche you are sure about what you're going to do, because the body is hardwired with the old pattern, you're going to find that it's difficult to push the body now and to influence the body into the new pattern. So you have to be patient here, and you have to be disciplined, and you have to be firm with the body. And that's how you will slowly change the pattern. And this goes for all patterns. So in some of these old karmas that are within you, you may have the energy of desires in them. So you want to make sure that when they come into your being with the old patterns of desire, that you can observe this carefully, because desires are energies inside. They come with force. So when they come, you need to look at them carefully when they take over your being, these old patterns, and you need to say, is this what I want? So a good thing always is to observe what's happening to you, what's happening in your body and mind when these old patterns come. What is it doing to my body? What is it doing to my mind? What is it doing to my emotion? And when you can see clearly what it's doing, and you tell yourself, no, I do not want this. The moment you say, I do not want this, you're creating a distance. If you're not able to say, I do not want this, and you're still caught up in some desire that is associated with the old pattern, then it's difficult. So you need to be sure that you want to desire a new way of thinking or feeling, a new pattern. You need to be sure that you want a new desire. So that one thing, that desire to recreate, is important, because it's going to help you to put behind the old desire and engage in the new. So karma is dynamic. It allows the opportunity to recreate, but you need to have the consciousness to do that, and you need to have the will to do that. So that's required. The discriminating consciousness, the one that allows you to see the old pattern and the consequences that will be there if you assume the old pattern or identify with it. You need to be able to see the consequences. For changing something, you need to observe carefully and say, what is this doing to me? Do I really want this? And the more you are clear that you don't want it anymore, the more you will feel empowered to recreate, to create a new pattern. So we are continuously creating, recreating in the consciousness. We have the opportunity or the ability to create new patterns in the consciousness. That's creating the karmas, being influenced by the karmas are continuously happening within us. If you observe, every pattern, every thought, every desire that comes into the consciousness is based on the old. So when you create a new consciousness that holds you in deep observation of these patterns and gives you the power to detach. Remember the 4Ds, discrimination and detachment? And the creating of a new one and sustaining the new one. That will help you to come out of the old patterns and to create new, to change, to transform. So we need the discrimination, we need the detachment, and we need the discipline of staying within you. Now when you are able to shift, like I said yesterday, into this position of instrument, to the extent where you feel carried, when you allow the divine to act in and through you fully, then you are becoming non-doer. The divine is doing. You are only driven by how you feel deeply inside from that divine place of your being. When you become the non-doer, then you stop creating the karmas. Because there is no desire within you unless the divine moves you. And then the divine is now in the play. And you, the ego, are not involved in creating the karmas. You will be fulfilling karmas, but there are no new desires within you. All your desire is to be carried and to stay in that process of being carried. So if you want to break all the karmas, you need to get into the consciousness of being carried. Create no new desire, except if the divine pushes you and you can feel it, and you know it's happening. It's not you. It's not me, Lord, but it's you. I can feel it in you. And I'm only doing this because I can feel your power in and through me doing it. So there you clear the personal karmas. So the idea is inaction, where the divine is leading. That's inaction and inaction. That's a non-doer. So let's take this into our meditation. Every thought that is going to arise in the consciousness, every pattern that's going to come up, even the way that we're going to meditate is based on the karmic influence from the past. See it anew. See it for what it is and decide whether you want to change that in this moment. And the goal will really be, how do I come, even as I desire to co-create, how do I come into a place where I feel completely carried? Let the divine working in and through me. That would be the intention. So let's observe this karmic influence in our meditation. So let's sit in a meditative posture. Observing present moment awareness, that we can see clearly the mental field and the consciousness. And be conscious of your entire being. Remember how the body is hardwired with all these impressions and tendencies. So the body can bring back that influence, but let your consciousness influence the body. Now let's focus on the new you, the you of this moment, not the you of the past. the seeker who is more immersed in divine consciousness. So the chakras you're going to use here is the brow and the crown. Crown holds you in expansive awareness of being, and brow holds you firmly in present moment awareness with focus on what's happening in the body. Take your attention down the spinal column mentally, right down to the root. You do not need to grab the perineum area, just observe its power. And breathe with the consciousness from the perineum area into the belly, into the chest, throat awareness, into the brain, and to the third eye. So here the mind that is involved with all the senses, the manas, with the senses, the indriyas, is now being engaged. And the reason why we're engaging, so we can see what patterns may appear in the consciousness from this manas mind that is involved with the senses. So engage in that spinal breathing, third eye awareness, and crown consciousness, which gives the expansive view. And as you breathe up and along the spine with the in-breath, engage in the prana, focusing on the medulla at the back of the neck and the strength of the third eye. And breathing down the body as you breathe out. Observe the entire field of being. Today we want to be non-judgmental, observing every pattern that may emerge in the consciousness space. Staying in present moment awareness, peaceful consciousness, loving being as you give attention to the heart, vital being in the core of the body. And you are engaging the body fully because you want to observe what may arise. If you feel the prana is obstructed in any area, give attention there. Open up the consciousness of the area to the energy that it is associated with. Whether it's sacral or navel or heart or throat, they are associated with particular energies. The energy of listening and spaciousness of the throat, the energy of touch and breathing in the chest, feeling, the energy of vitality, the firepower in the gut, the sacred sexual power at the sacral chakra, and then the root energy that holds you firmly in the body. Engage with them as you breathe in. So you can observe the senses. The smell, the taste, the seeing, the touch, the hearing. You can observe the mind. You can observe the expansive space of being. And now you can observe the play of karma in that space. If all patterns are emerging, just observe them. Objectively, no judgment. Rising beyond conditioning And let's learn to create anew. Let's give attention to the new patterns in the consciousness that we want to create. And one new one that we want to create is being non-judgmental in every situation. Being unconditionally loving in every situation. Observing the physical body in a relationship of loving being, loving every cell, every organ, seeing the body as a gift. And you want to create a consciousness of the entire being, total being. You want to create present moment awareness. And you want to create a consciousness of being aligned to the divine within you, the evolutionary power of the divine. So as you breathe up the spinal column and as you breathe down the body, observe the presence of this power within you that drives your evolutionary journey of seeking and growing in the consciousness. Observe that power of Kundalini within you. And in your new consciousness, you want to create a relationship with her, so much so that she becomes a director of your play. That she takes you on top of the karmic journey. Guide me, O Mother. Take away all the darkness from within me. Lead me into the light, that I may merge into your being and become the non-doer, with you being the doer. So hold that consciousness of being fully guided by this divine power within you, looking for her presence, whether it's in the heart that she moves to clean the heart, or the gut that she moves to improve the fire of vitality, or whether she's transmuting this sacred sexual energy, or whether she's holding you in the body at the root. Give attention to where she's taking you. Or into the throat, expanding your consciousness, opening up your listening and making you quiet and intuitive. Or into the brow where she focuses so deeply, or into the crown where she goes way into the head. Observe where she's taking you. She's transforming your consciousness. She's taking you beyond the karmas. She's expanding your being by opening up your energy channels. And she's bringing you into a space of total well-being. So this is the new consciousness you want to create. Her most powerful center is at the brow, the guru power, the co-creative power. Let her empower you. And in your new consciousness, seek to sustain your awareness of her presence within you. Sustain the awareness of her presence within you. You are the dual mother. Let your energy flow in and through me, opening up every channel, heightening my awareness of you within me. You are me. Help me to realize that you are me, that I am you. Take away all separation from you. Let me merge into your being, O Mother of the Universe. And if you're so inclined, you can let the mantras of unity vibrate in your consciousness. So hum, you and I are one. So with the in-breath, hum with the out-breath. Or just the Om that vibrates from the center of being. Stay attentive to the entire spinal column and to wherever she's taking you. Staying conscious of your crown. That is the space beyond all karmas. Even if the old patterns visit, detach yourself from them. They are no longer you. Now let your heart be in gratitude for the wisdom that is in your consciousness. For the awareness of the divine within you. Let your intention be to always be conscious that you are only an instrument and the divine is a power within you. That your I, your ego, is really an expression of the divine within you. And this ego needs to merge back into the consciousness of the divine, from whence it came. And now let's open up the consciousness to the space around us. Breathing strongly in the navel area. Grounding at the root. Empowering the senses, the physical senses. As we open up the consciousness of the belly area. Conscious of the elements of nature around us. Holding the intention of harmonious coexistence. And let's look at the day ahead. We are going to engage in the karmic play. All the events that we're going to encounter are a result of our inner karmas bearing fruit, attracting these situations around us. Let's welcome the karmic play in our hearts, staying aligned to the divine. I welcome my new day. I center my consciousness in that supreme divine within me, that power that directs my play. I hold my I there, my ego there, in alignment to that supreme divine within me. My desire is to act only as the divine bids me to act. Guide me through this day. O Supreme One, guide me through this day. You be the guide. I'm the follower. Guide my every thought, my every word, my every action, my every desire, my every intention. Guide me through this day. You be the guide. I humbly follow you. Protect me, nourish me, strengthen me, grant me wisdom, and hold me ever united with you. You are the director of my plan. I'm in gratitude to you. Thank you, Supreme One, for every blessing. Om. Peace. 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 Thank you, everyone. This is day 20. Subject is karma. I hope that you've gained insights from today's session that will continue to inspire you to be instrument and not doer, not to act in separation to the divine, but in alignment to the divine. If we can become more aware of the divine acting in and through us, we'll begin to lose the sense of the ego. We'll stop creating those karmas that will continue to hold us in bondage. The more we act in and through, or in alignment to the divine, the more we become guided. Do not act in separation to the divine. Seek to create that consciousness of alignment. That's a new consciousness that you want to create to break free of the karmas. When the divine is your director, when the divine is fully acting in and through you, no more karmas are created. You're supremely protected. Have a blessed day, everyone. My soul bows to you. Namaskar.